Hey, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim,
And this is Danny.
and we are here to talk about a movie
Yeah, we are.
and lessons.
What a shocker.
I know. Well, just to, cover last episode, we talked about documentaries
Mm-hmm.
and, still hold. Best way to get into independent filmmaking, get your feet wet, especially if you're going to be the one who has to do all the shit.
Right.
Right? You're the director, the editor, the mixer, everything. Or you're doing it solo or with a group of people who are no better at it than you. That is the best way to go because you can put all your effort into post and the setups and learn your lessons.
Yeah.
And you're not going to, have paid a group of actors to do all this stuff only to find out you can't use a single fucking frame.
Right.
Because you don't know what you're doing. But that's the beauty of it.
But we talked about that last week.
Yeah, indie filmmaking. Now we're going to talk about a film, independent, a little bit higher end than, I wouldn't say studio grade.
But
fairly close.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on before we begin?
We lost Graham Greene.
Yes, we did. After a long illness, which is very sad on a number of fronts, not just because he was a great guy and a magnificent actor, but he was also one of the First Peoples.
Yes.
He was a member of the Oneida tribe in Ontario, Canada, and he helped further the movement of using Native Americans in Native American roles.
Yes.
Because for too long, it was just a bunch of white guys with racistly painted faces, the red paint and all that. Russell Means was another one. He was the father in Last of the Mohicans.
Right.
Chingachgook. And most people will remember Graham from Dancing with Wolves. He was the medicine man. And and he and his wife had, I think, the most rock solid relationship.
Aw.
It was just so, she just would chide him and just, like call him out and, and then there were just conversations and stuff back and forth when it was just them. Not like a major part of the movie, but just one of the things that elevated that movie way up there. It was just brilliant. And then just countless movies, series, everything from, horror to sci-fi. No, Siri, thank you.
Yeah, it went on my screen over here as well.
I must be speaking loudly.
Yeah.
Anyway, another loss. Just, another one to put on the board and sad. They're all sad.
Well, yeah, of course they are.
Haven't really, beyond that, seen a lot of what's going on out there. We've been kind of busy.
We have been kind of busy.
Kind of our own stuff.
We did go out for our anniversary and birthdays.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned this before. August is a terrible, terrible month in terms of your birthday is on the 1st. Mine's on the 30th.
Yeah, we bookend it.
Yeah. And then we have our getting together anniversary. Not even our first date, because that comes later. That was like the 17th of August.
I don't know the date of our first date.
I have it written down, but there's so many numbers. But anyway, so we have the 6th is our thing. We have the 7th, our wedding anniversary. And then your brother's birthday, one of your brothers, and then nephew, and then your friend. And there's just a lot.
There is a lot, yeah.
It's a lot going on. So we snowballed all this into one giant packed thing.
Well, because it would be a little ridiculous to...
It would be going out every weekend to do something big throughout the whole month.
Yeah.
And, we're Folks, we're just those kinds of people. That is fatiguing.
We like to stay in.
Yeah. We're not shut-ins, but, when you live out here in the quiet and, even in the city, it's kind of the same. We would get out and do stuff, go bike rides and stuff, but there's just nothing better than hanging at home, being with my family,
Right.
and doing whatever, even if we're just like vegetating on something on television or, playing video games or watching Lily play a video game or something, That's
Or even just doing quiet reflection.
Yeah, I mean, and we do, our own things, but we just like, it means more to be near one another.
Yeah.
Than it does the thing that's being done.
Yes.
So going out just is like, oh, this is a labor.
I know.
We don't go to movies really anymore.
No, we watch them at home.
Yeah, that experience is just diminished so much over the years.
Yeah.
That the last few times we went, it just wasn't enjoyable. And I can't justify $100 movie night to take the three of us out to put up with all that bullshit. Right.
But we had a lovely evening out, just the two of us.
We did. It was our first date night in, well over 5 years.
Ages. We should do more of those.
You think? Yeah, we had a wonderful dinner. And then we did some gambling.
We did gambling, yes.
Yeah.
We did not win.
No, I mean, we won a little, lose a little, but we had a set amount we went with.
Yeah.
And that was it. And we left with a little bit of that left.
Yes.
But it was fun.
It was.
It was fun. I mean, we were, 4 hours?
Yeah, it was quite a long time.
And I don't get the slots these days. Some of these things went on for fucking ever. And it's like, you win $1, you win $2, you win $12, you lose $3. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, man.
I was like, I just want to see the pretty graphics that come up when something happens.
That's kind of it. That's what I was looking for in the games. Not so much the chance of winning or what was the giant jackpot, but what would be cool to look at.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea how any of this fucking works, know. And if you're going to sit and pull the old arm and ching, 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 one roll, one line, right?
Boring.
Well, I mean, if that's what you want to do to like vegetate, but when you're like with somebody and everything, it's got, and it's if it's digital, especially, it should be like magical.
It should.
If it was the old fashioned, mechanical stuff, well then, yeah, I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
But
we don't go gambling a lot.
No.
Or ever.
Well, it was way longer than that. Way longer than 5 years since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So it was fun.
It was.
Let's see, getting the girl set up for school.
Yes.
As most people have been doing. By the time this comes out, they'll all be out doing their thing.
Yep.
Yep.
Back to school.
Yeah. Getting her some stuff. For a new setup. And yeah.
Well, it's lovely because, I mean, not to go too deep into our lives, but she's enrolled in an online academy. Right? And she has not yet had, she did have a desk at one point, but it wasn't like a whole big setup. It was like, do your homework here. But now she's going to be spending a lot of time at a desk. And we kind of know what that's like.
Yeah, we do.
So she is very excited to get her workstation set up.
Well, her plan was to sit at the kitchen table with her laptop.
Yeah.
And I had to step up, being the dad and tech man that I am. No, let me explain to you how this is important.
Right.
Number one, it's always nice to have a little space, even if it's in your room, but a space solely dedicated to that task, school and study. The problem with doing it at the kitchen table, you got to haul all your shit back and forth daily, right? Get it out of the way so we can, set the table up and have dinner.
Yeah.
And have people over and whatnot. So you don't have a place to keep your stuff.
Right.
You don't have a permanent place for your phone. You're literally traveling through the house with a backpack.
You're transient in your own house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you just don't have that work mode feel. Right. So we talked about it. we were fostering. Well, I don't know what you call it, fostering. So we brought those 3 kittens in from the outside.
Yeah, we homed 2 of them.
The one litter that was 2 weeks older than the other.
Yeah.
And we rehomed 2 of them. We have one languishing little hellion that just won't go. Nobody wants
it. There's so many kittens.
I mean, we're on a waiting list. Because when we still
for the
had
Humane Society.
when we still had 2.
Yeah,
they put us on a waiting list. We're still waiting.
Yeah.
To be able to
bring a cat in.
Yeah. So anyway, we decided, since she's spending all her time during the day with the big cats, and they get along famously.
Oh, they get along perfectly.
Yeah. Duke plays with her like he did with Phoebe when they were little.
Yeah.
He's very gentle. He gets it. He's a very big brother.
He is.
Biscuit just loves playing. And Phoebe loves playing with her too.
She does.
In her weird fucking way.
Yeah.
And I think
their playing involves a lot of chasing and running.
Yeah. And I think Chunks is really into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's really into all of it. But anyway, we decided to move the big cage out of Lily's room. And that is now her desk space. She's got a temporary desk.
Yes.
One of our old folding ones, just to get started with. And the idea being, you sit at it and then you realize what you want from a desk based on what this is missing. So after a couple of weeks, we got some like preliminary choices set aside.
Yes.
But after a couple of weeks, then she'll know more what she wants. But she's got a new chair coming, a new monitor coming.
Keyboard.
A new keyboard. She's using a keyboard and a mouse and stuff now. And then
right, but there's stuff we just happen to have kind of lying about.
Yeah, and our extra monitor we use for D&D. I mean, so she's working with a real setup.
Yes.
And she is just like, oh my God.
I know.
This does make a difference. This is great. So we let her pick her versions of what she wants.
Well, yeah, because a desk is a very personal space.
Oh, and we got to get her a mouse. The one that she wanted. But she's got that good one anyway. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a nice, good setup, and she's digging it.
She is.
Which is great. And then, by the end of this week, she'll have everything.
Woo, except the desk, because she's got to figure out what kind of desk she wants.
Yeah, that'll probably take another week after, just to be sure. Because she's an impulse.
She is. She's very impulsive.
Yeah, I want this. I'm like, well, now hold on. And I heard you talking to her.
Yeah.
Dad there's work to be done.
Yeah. I said, you land on a thing and you want this thing immediately. Dad needs to go through all the options. Like, you both do things differently.
Well, compatibility, usability, right? Practicality. I mean, I know she wants pretty shiny, sparkly stuff, but it has to be able to meet my practical use requirements.
Right.
Right. So, just little things like that. She did leave the monitor completely up to me though.
Oh yeah. She's like, I don't care.
Well, because there is like no other, you can't get a pink Hello Kitty monitor. You can buy something to put on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, she's all set. And that wasn't like a quick thing.
Oh no. This has been a while in the making.
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of out of tune with the stuff, but that's all right. Because I do have a little bit of a surprise.
What?
So we had talked about it. We almost made it happen, but some things occurred to delay it. But we will soon be having the star of this particular film.
The one we're covering today.
Yeah, weirdly. In an interview.
What? We are?
Yeah.
No, I knew this, but
I know you did. Yeah. Hannaj Bang-Benz is going to be on the show. It'll be a couple weeks because I think
there's some travel and some.
She's in the U.S. She's in a taekwondo tournament, big time championships. It's just been busy, and then she got a head cold, and she's going to be flying back next weekend. So we were talking about it, I think maybe the 14th. So when this episode drops,
is when we'll be recording.
We'll be recording the interview. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited because she is just great, and we're going to talk about her.
Yeah.
In a minute. And all the other stuff. So yeah, that's woo woo.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you about this movie?
I want you to tell us about the movie that we're going to talk about tonight.
Well, okay. This movie is called Wrath of Dracula.
Yes.
It was made in 2023, written and directed by Steve Larson, starring Hannaj Bang-Benz, Sean Cronin, Serene Fenton. Not rated, indie film.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a listed budget, but if I had to guess, given like our knowledge of these kinds of things, I would say somewhere in the realm of like $250K.
Possibly. I would go as low as 100.
Between 100 and 250.
Because we'll talk about one of the things, locations.
Sure.
One thing we talk about what makes an indie film rise or fail budget wise is locations.
Yeah.
You know.
Here is the log line. Mina Harker embarks on a mission to rescue her husband Jonathan from Castle Dracula, assisted by the mysterious Professor Van Helsing. That's it.
I'll take it. All right.
Bring us in.
So, we open with a man who is writing a letter to Mina, because he calls her by name in his head. And he's saying that since his arrival in Transylvania, nothing has been as expected. He's a prisoner of Count Dracula. Explains how everything's locked, the doors, the windows, all this. And as he's writing, we hear voices calling to him. And he continues that he's sending purchase records of the real estate deal that he was there for, along with the letter. We learn his name is Jonathan. And then suddenly a hand reaches from off screen behind him and just pulls him back. And then we have the opening credits. So then when we come back, there's another woman who's writing to someone named Lucy. And I'm thinking, well, this must be Mina. She's speaking of Jonathan and how she has not yet received anything from him since he left for Transylvania. And then there's a late visitor at her door. And it's a man who's bringing Mina the package that Jonathan had sent. Apparently it was sent to the law firm.
He secreted the letter to Mina inside the package.
Inside the package.
That was sent to the law firm.
Yeah. So of course they opened it, and one of the guys there opened it, and this guy read it. And I think he's the head of the firm.
Something.
Anyway, so when she brings up the whole thing of Jonathan being held prisoner, he's very plainly says that the law firm is not responsible for him, and shows a contract that pretty much says if you go anywhere for any reason, even if it's on law firm business, you're on your own.
Right.
They're not obligated to do anything for you. So the next thing we see is Mina packing her bags to go to Transylvania and go after Jonathan. She goes over a copy of his travel itinerary. And I didn't note this at the time, but I'm going to just come back to it. So she was writing her letter on a typewriter.
Yes.
And the copy of the itinerary she has is his handwritten version, and she typed it up for him. Okay. So she's big on this typewriter, gorgeous typewriter, very similar to ours.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So then we have a bit of a travel montage as she's kind of going over. She's reading the itinerary.
Right.
Here to here, Budapest, blah 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 blah. And then we cut to Mina, who's dressed in black, and she's arriving at Castle Dracula. There's howls in the distance, ravens everywhere, close and far. You can hear them. A man comes out to meet her, and she pulls a gun on him. Now, he doesn't come out of the castle.
Right.
He comes kind of, just out of nowhere. And I love his response. And good Lord, where did you get that? It's an antique. It still works. But so they start talking, and he kind of brings up that Transylvania has the largest population of wolves in the world. then introduces himself as none other than Van Helsing.
Professor.
Van Helsing. She tells him her husband is in the castle, and he's kind of, well, that's almost too bad, sort of response. Then he tells Mina that there's not going to be any answer at the door at this hour because it's daylight.
Right.
She needs to come back and try in the darker hours.
But it's dangerous to do that.
Yes, it is. So, wang, wang, what do you do? So it directs her to an inn in the village, and she walks away, leaving her suitcase for him to carry. As he picks it up, he about like blows his nuts down to his knees. He's like, "Oh my God." Okay. So they get to the village, and I wrote this down because it was just so glaringly obvious. This is a continuity issue. So they're in there, it's still daylight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bright, actually. And Van Helsing, checks his watch and he says it's just turned 6. And almost as if on purpose, the next cut is the village clock tower that is at 9:50.
Yeah.
Right? Clearly 9:50 in the morning, because that shot is bright as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So anyway, we'll come back to that in a little while. So they go into the inn. They're given drinks. Mina's not impressed with him. They talk about him having unfinished business at the castle. He's been following the Count for 3 years, all the way to the Orient, and then like through Russia, all across Russia, and then back to the castle. Then he talks about a young woman from the village that disappeared like a few days before he got there. And then he blames Dracula, of course. Mina says her suspicions are correct, that the Count is a villain of some sort, and she reveals that Dracula was buying property in London, which is why her husband was there. Van Helsing has like an epiphany. He says that Dracula could never get loose in London.
They have to stop him.
They have to stop him because he's been he did mention like, I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah.
Right. But, he's like been trying to ruin his vacation, essentially following him everywhere. Now, the people in the inn are looking at them very strangely, quietly from the back, like, what the fuck? Yeah. So Van Helsing's like, we should go to your room to talk. And then we cut to the young woman who vanished. She's locked in a room, and there's footsteps. Then a figure we don't really get to see comes up to her. There's a quick scream, and then we're back to Van Helsing and Mina. It's just very. He hands, and I love this bit. So he hands her this big ass book. Says if he told her everything he knew about Dracula, she wouldn't believe him. So he directs her to chapter 7 in the book. And she's like, "What is this?" And he says, "It's Latin." She says, "I don't speak Latin." And then he's like, well.
Yeah.
She's like, "What do they teach you in school?" Anyway. So he has to go over all this anyway.
Yeah.
So real quickly, the book is 100 years old. It speaks of 69 different types of demons. And then he starts telling her about the Lamia. This long story short, I'm not going to get into that. And tells Mina that Dracula is older than the book. And Dracula fell in love with a Lamia at some point. The Lamia bit him, drank his blood, and just before he died, he drank the blood from the Lamia. Now he's an undead, a vampire. And that's the origin.
So in the castle, the village girl, who now looks like one of Dracula's brides, is asking Jonathan about Mina, saying that he talks about her in his sleep. And then the 3 women in the castle, they've got fangs and they're attacking him. And then we cut back to Van Helsing and Mina. He's giving her his journal of chasing Dracula. And she points out like a doodle of a werewolf that's in it.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's that? And he's like, oh, well, I passed through this village, blah, 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 blah. People turning into wolves.
People, yeah.
And Mina, having, kind of skimmed through this, she's like, well, I've got to go get my husband. There isn't any time to spare. This guy's bad news. So Van Helsing tells her that she can't go to the castle in the night. She won't come back alive. He tells her she needs to go home and just leave this business to a man, essentially.
There it is.
So she storms out.
I just want to, I didn't write it down, but I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
A professional man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back at the castle, John is laying in bed with the wives, and Dracula comes in. It's just his eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's scolding the wives who aren't supposed to be feeding on Jonathan.
Right.
Jonathan's Dracula's. They're not supposed to touch him. They're naughty, naughty girls. And then we cut back to Van Helsing, who is now writing in his journal about his meeting with Mina and learning about Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
He sees her coat that she left on his chair from when they were talking earlier, and then is returning it to her in her room. And he admits to her that he went through her coat and found her letter from Jonathan.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, weird. But he says the 3 others mentioned in the letter are probably women. And she's like, what? And he says, oh, the Count keeps women by his side. Beautiful women, compelling them to serve him. They're his brides. And he's charming, and he hypnotizes women and gives them his blood to make them serve him. And she's like, well, what are they doing with my husband? And Hannah does a very good job in here. But I already... this dialogue just feels like it really stretches the realm of naivety, believability.
Well, let's just pause for a second.
Okay.
Let's just address it now, because we might forget about it towards the end.
I don't think we will.
Well, so this is a period piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? This isn't like Dracula 2025. Right. So this is in keeping with Bram Stoker's time period. Hence, the big flintlock pistol and the weird ass.
Well, the big flintlock pistol is actually much older than the time period in which Dracula takes place.
Well, that's what he was saying. It's an antique.
Right.
Right. But yeah.
Because we have those. They're antique pirate pistols.
Yeah. I think the problem with all of it is, I'm going to say, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Okay.
All right. That's the one starring Kevin Costner. And I mean, I liked it because it was directed by Michael Mann. And so I kind of liked how he threw it all together. But here's the problem. That's why everybody was mostly pissing on that movie, is because Kevin Costner couldn't keep a fucking accent to save his life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have been better trying to keep a wombat with the shits clean than for him to hold his English accent. And I think that was kind of the problem here.
Not necessarily the accent, but holding the tone of...
So Hannah's English,
mm-hmm.
speaks with an English accent, but it's not the same kind of accent from the 1800s, right? In Victorian style Gothic realm. It's different. Just like in England, there's like 25 different dialects.
Yeah.
Just like in America, there's like 70, right? American English is all over the fucking place. And I think when people think of how things are being spoken, also the way things were spoken back then.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of that through here. There's a lot of almost flowery
Right.
language that's all of a sudden just like wrapped up in a turd of modern presentation. And I think that's how because I felt the same way,
Yeah.
as you did. But I kind of like reconciled that as, and I tried to get past it. Like, it's not easy. It's not easy if you don't know the era and you don't know the tone of the books or how the books are written,
Hmm.
right? From the, how Dracula was written. Um, in that kind of language, and you bring it forward, you got to be like 100%, 110% into that. Every word on that, every word written in that script has to be from that era. You have to think it, you have to visualize it, and shit, you have to even think how to shoot it in that language. And I think that's where the disconnect came, and seemed really weirdly. She did seem like super naive, because
Yeah.
I tried making notes like you did, and I finally gave up. And I just said, he's just trying to tell her as politely as she can, as Jonathan is fucking the shit out of these 3 vampire women.
Yeah.
And he might not even know it.
Right. So Van Helsing tells her that he hasn't had much luck catching Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like almost as he's talking about, the wives and stuff, he's like, but actually, you might have better luck being a woman.
Yeah.
So he is asking her for her help, basically to be bait,
Mm-hmm.
so that he can get in the castle and they can go kill Dracula.
Yeah.
So they agree to help each other because she wants to help, get her husband out.
Mm-hmm.
So he says that he's going to prepare her, teach her about vampires and how to kill them.
Right.
There is no time frame set upon this training. I want that to be clear. We have no idea how long they plan to prepare before they go to Castle Dracula.
Correct.
Or whether her husband is still alive or will be still alive by the time they're done preparing.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow they're going to begin her training. So she pulls out her typewriter to journal. And Van Helsing, she pulls it out of her big, heavy suitcase. And he's just aghast that she brought it with her. And in fairness, those typewriters are real heavy.
Yeah, they are.
They're ludicrously heavy.
I mean,
and they're not meant for traveling.
No, they're solid steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like lightweight titanium, modern day replicas.
I mean, at one point, they might have even been cast iron. Who knows?
Yeah.
So in the morning, Mina and Van Helsing meet outside. He hands her a Chinese book that is apparently full of exercises that give the people of the Orient a superhuman ability. And she's like, I don't read Chinese. And he says there's pictures.
Yeah. Follow the pictures.
So she does.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells her these ancient techniques will prepare her to face Dracula. So the next thing is we see her dressed in men's clothes to practice the exercises. Because she gets frustrated with her dresses. And this is probably already, I wrote this is probably the longest, what feels like an intro to a movie ever. Because at this point, I'm like, when is the movie going to really start? When is the story going to really start?
Yeah.
Because thus far, nothing really has happened.
We're almost 40 minutes in.
Just about, yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they kind of a little montage of them training, learning how to kill vampires. He gives her a wooden stake, a hammer, a crucifix, a mirror, and tells her what they're all for.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what they're all for, so I didn't go into that. She does this kind of funny, cheeky thing where she checks to see if Van Helsing has a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, yeah, just checking. Just funning you. And she complains about how heavy the hammer is.
Yeah.
And he says that he gave her something in her room to practice her arm and wrist strength so she can wield the hammer. And it's one of those, I can't remember what they are called. They have a name, but they're practice dummies.
Yeah, I always call them what did I call it? Fighting posts. So it's got the, various, pieces of wood sticking out that you hit with, to block and to move and to learn your forms. And then it's got the punch pads, and then for the pain, for the palm, and then for the knife chops and stuff, with your hands. I can't remember the name either. But yeah, apparently she's got the upper body strength of a Keebler elf.
Right.
Because that hammer, I mean, it looked like someone trying to lift, Mjolnir.
It did.
Off the ground.
So then there's a little bit more of a montage of them writing and training and yada yada. And the actors are doing a good job here. But unfortunately, this film is so slow. I am dying with how slow it is.
Just to be clear, we're hitting all the beats.
We are.
We didn't skip scenes. We're like blowing through, like the whole fighting montage thing was, or her training thing. We don't need to go through that whole thing.
No.
Because that was long.
And Van Helsing talks for literally solid minutes at a time, like 5 to 10 minutes of just him yapping.
Yeah. And not all of it.
Almost none of it's important.
I was going to say beneficial, but okay. Important too.
Almost none of it's important.
Yeah.
So he has made 4 silver bullets for her antique pistol. 1 for Dracula and 1 for each of the brides.
Yeah, out of the end of his cane.
Yeah.
The capper.
So their plan is to get in the castle with a clever ruse. And he tells her to just play along while they're in the castle until they can find Dracula's resting place. So on their way out of the inn, they're going to go to the castle. Again, we don't know how long they've been training.
No, we do not. Because it wasn't like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Because I'm not going to believe that the character of Mina
became a martial artist
superstar in 72 hours.
Right.
So this had to have gone on for a bit.
Yeah.
For sure. But anyway, keep going.
So on their way out, the innkeeper stops them and shows them a picture of a girl, his daughter, who's the one who okay, now hold on. The timeline is very confusing.
It is.
So the village girl that they were talking about that went missing is his daughter.
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
Who, the innkeeper says, delivered glass bottles to the castle 4 years ago.
Right. And Van Helsing said that there was a story, and it's 3 days ago.
Right.
Right?
So have they been training for 4 years?
Yeah, I don't know. Because that seems like, I don't think Dracula would have fucked about for 4 whole years to go move to London.
Right.
Right.
So he asked them to bring Maria back if they find her. And Mina says that they'll do what they can.
Yeah. Now, another pause. We're going to just kind of, we don't have to go through the whole thing without speaking about stuff. But I do want to mention this, and maybe we'll swing back to it. So again, the writing suffers. That's no longer a surprise that it's not a spoiler anymore. And one of the things that suffered was I was under the impression he was going to send her to the fucking castle on some sort of ruse, right? And let Dracula try and, work his smarmy magic and shit on her, and she would get information from him. I had no idea the both of them were going to fucking go. And it's like, what's the point? If a man shows up at Dracula's castle with or without a woman, Dracula's not really into anything at that point.
Right.
Right? It's like, I don't need the fucking problems. Right? Because clearly he can pick these ladies up on the fucking forest road willy-nilly with like 0 effort.
Yeah.
Right? So why would you,
I don't know.
Just like, whatever. So, but anyway, well, he knows who the fuck you are. You've been chasing him for years.
Right.
And you're going to show up with this lady and pretend to not be you?
Right.
How is she going to get anything done?
Yeah, his plan isn't for someone who's as smart as he claims to be. His plan is not very good.
Well, actually, let me just address that. He has Professor Brain. And what Professor Brain is, I have worked with some of the most brilliant professors in the university system. And they are very fucking good at what they do. I mean, like, beyond, Sheldon Cooper, Big Bang Theory. But in like every other aspect of life, oh my fucking God. It's like, how did you get to work today?
So this is accurate then.
I mean, it is kind of accurate because somebody can be brilliant at what they do. And, that's why I work very closely with most of them because technology evaded almost all of them.
Yeah.
To like massive degrees.
Yeah.
But others.
To a troubling degree.
Yeah. Others were just like stymied by like an accordion folder. I won't even get into it, but that's the truth.
All
anyway,
right.
So I gave it a slight pass.
Sure.
I still don't see why they didn't go separately or send her, but anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So they get to the castle. They're led in by one of the brides. It's Maria.
Mm-hmm.
The clever ruse is that, like you said, Van Helsing takes a fake name and says that Mina's his niece.
Yeah, their carriage broke down just down the road.
That's it. That's the ruse.
And it's storming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Maria shows Mina to a room and tells her Van Helsing's going to be in another room.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that her sister will soon be by to draw a bath. And Mina's like, no, I'm fine. And she's like, no, you're not fine. This is what we do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
That was like a little uncomfortable.
So, oh yeah. And then they're going to bathe her.
Yeah. Well, it's something like, we're not, barbarians. We're civilized. Just like in England, we take baths before bed.
Okay.
Now we're going to bathe you.
Kind
of like shit.
Yeah. So then in another room, her sister, Issa, I believe is her name, is like trying to entice Van Helsing.
Is it Issa? I didn't even catch her name till towards the end. Was it Isla? Or
I don't think it matters that much. I just wrote Issa.
Okay.
And he tells her he really needs to rest and gets her to leave. And then he hides his vampire tools in and around his bed. Meanwhile, the other wives are bathing Mina. And Maria's like asking her all kinds of leading questions, trying to catch her in a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So then they start talking about wolves.
Yeah. Well, so Maria goes on about Mina's, your father must be passionate about his studies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mina corrects her.
Yeah.
He's my uncle.
Right.
Which I thought was really good.
So Mina's talking about wolves being beautiful and deadly. And so they're having this conversation, and then Maria goes to open her suitcase to like unpack her things for her.
Yeah.
And there's a crucifix on top of things in the suitcase.
Yeah, necklace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both Maria and the other wife, that I had never caught her name, both basically book it when they see the crucifix.
Frida.
Yes.
They
They leave almost immediately when they see it. And they're like, oh, you know what? We got to go. Bye.
I forgot we got a thing.
Yeah, basically. And so Mina picks it up and she's like, interesting. And then all we've seen of Dracula so far are extreme eye close-ups. So far, not enough Dracula.
Right?
Need more Dracula. And then we have him talking to Maria. And he tells her they can do what they want with the man, but the girl needs to be made into one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Mina's then sleeping. And in her sleep, the crucifix falls out of her hand. We jump over to Van Helsing's room. And Issa is in his room. And then the other two are in Mina's room telling her to join them. So Van Helsing...
Well, yeah, Mina's in her sleep still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Frida's on top of her.
Mm-hmm.
Join us. Very subtle.
I feel like they could have approached it a little bit differently.
Oh, I think they could have approached it a whole lot differently.
Yeah. So Van Helsing clever man that he is, now that they're in Dracula's castle with these creepy women, checks the mirror.
Yeah, pulls out that
with
big fucking
Issa.
mirror.
And sees that she's out, and he's like, oh my God, she's a vampire. And she tells him that her master knows who he is. So finally, there is some action happening. So Mina's fighting with the brides.
Yes.
Van Helsing stakes his bride, who tries to attack him. And Mina keeps trying to get the gun out of her suitcase. But the fight sequences are a little bit silly.
Yeah. Well,
it's not super well choreographed.
No. But here's my thought on that. This was a bit earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because when we see her in I Am Rage, it was pretty good choreography.
It was good choreography, but it's a whole different crew, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And, you know, and then you fast forward to her next shot with David in Primal Gates. That was really good. And more of it.
Right.
Because this was more action. The other one was sort of a mix.
Right.
And
but this seemed to be more of a period piece with some action in it.
Right. But having seen the behind the scenes footage of I Am Rage and the choreography, especially in the outdoor fighting and towards the end, I think they were better set up for her to not have to hold back as much.
Sure.
It looked very much like, to me, they didn't have appropriate like stunt people, stunt coordinators, and didn't seem like an enormous amount of time was spent choreographing the scenes.
Right.
And I think what hurt it also was I could tell right when things started, this camera's not at the right angle. All right. I'm looking at these actors all wrong. You know, Mina and Frida, I'm just used to watching all these movies with fights.
Right.
Over, decades. So I know when the camera shot I know something's coming. I'm like, this is how you make a punch look real. This is how you make it look you actually hit the fucking guy.
Yeah.
You only have a few degrees of latitude and then you lose it. So it was, I think, very...
Yeah, the angles of the camera were very wrong.
Yeah, and I just think it was, hey, look, we don't have insurance for this, so let's do what we can. Maybe we'll overclock it.
Yeah. So Mina ultimately gets the gun and shoots Frida.
Yes.
And just in time for Van Helsing to barge into the room asking if she's all right.
Yeah. One thing about Van Helsing in his fight with Ilsa, whatever, he does hold up his giant ass crucifix towards her.
Right.
And she just grabs him by the fucking wrist.
Yeah.
And basically like twists it almost to breaking it and makes him drop it.
But they couldn't approach Mina in her sleep while she was holding the little one in her hand.
Right. And well, the whole point of the crucifix is if you touch it to a vampire, you can burn. Right. It burns them. And it's just like in for folks who play D&D, it's just like radiant damage. The closer you get to a crucifix as a vampire, the more powerful it becomes. It actually, without it touching you, if you get within like an inch of it, it causes damage. So the fact that she was just like, fuck that thing.
Right.
I'm like, what was the whole point?
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah.
So.
Crucifix mysteries.
After the fight, Mina finds Jonathan's typewritten itinerary that she wrote up for him in the desk that she hit Frida's head on.
Yeah, she smashed the drawer. That was awesome.
So now she knows for sure that Jonathan was there. And then suddenly they're in a crypt that has a coffin in it.
Yeah. Then they're ready to like stake Dracula.
So Mina gets the gun ready, and inside this coffin is Jonathan, who is still alive. Van Helsing is shocked.
Yeah, I mean, and he does look like he has been around the block a few times.
He does,
He's
yeah.
very pale,
Mm-hmm.
got shit all over him, bruises, and just, yeah, he's looking.
So he wakes up and turns to Mina, and the room is full of bottles of blood. And so Van Helsing says that he must have been draining Jonathan to prepare for his journey to London.
Sustenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he admits that he never expected to find Jonathan alive, so he never really planned on how to get him out of there. So he was like, but I am going to go kill Dracula. Goodbye.
I mean, yeah. He basically told her flat out, you found him, good luck. I got to go kill this guy. And she was pissed.
Yeah.
And you get it. But I also, I got the fact that he has a larger thing going on. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So she gives him a talking to.
Yeah.
And he ultimately agrees to help her get Jonathan back to the inn.
Right. Now, just at my last sentence, I wrote exactly that. And then I just put, I would have finished with Dracula first.
And
but hey, because we've got 2 of the wives down.
Right.
Right. Who the fuck knows where Maria is? But 2 vampires is still way better than 4.
Yeah.
Right. And you're here. They're on the defense. Now you're going to like fuck off to the inn for how long?
Right.
I mean, clearly this dude has never, for all his worldly travels, had never come across a copy of The Art of War.
I know.
The whole premise of it is to be respectful and try to hold some dignity. You never pursue a retreating army and for various reasons. But really it all boils down to is just end this shit. Right? A protracted war is senseless. And in a kind of situation like this, you're like right there.
Yeah, I actually read The Art of War this year. I don't know if that's in my book count, but it is like, it's not even necessarily about honorability and warfare. It's just how to win.
Well, that's right. But that's the whole thing of, it's to get you to stay on this side of being honorable. And I don't mean like, spare lives and stuff, because he's pretty quick about the whole no quarter thing. That's, it's all these little things. The enemy that you just let go will come back. I mean, the whole point of war is to win it, but you never chase after a retreating army because that's going to lead you into shit.
Well, yeah, it's going to cost you resources. You don't know what you're getting into. It is a gamble that is not going to pay off.
Exactly. But anyway, they're in there. They had a hard enough time getting in.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the fucking castle. They got all their shit. Like I said, 2 down, 2 to go.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being the captain, right? Yeah. And no,
Jonathan's not getting any worse just sitting there. Leave him there for a moment.
Yeah, clearly he's not in danger of dying.
Right.
Anyway. So we're back at the inn, and Jonathan is being given drugs by the good doctor. Then they leave him to rest. Mina thanks Van Helsing and for getting Jonathan out, and then he thanks her for making him see reason, not let his obsession cloud who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then he talks about having a wife. She's not dead, but she's no longer the woman he married. I just wrote, because they stopped right there.
Yeah.
Then they're drinking downstairs. And this is funny. So the old man, the guy who came up and said, hey, can you find my daughter? This is a long scene, by the way. And he's just sitting back there.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Like, I can't be bothered to ask about my fucking daughter, even though they're back from the castle.
That people don't come back from.
And yeah. So, and nobody says anything to him about her.
No.
So anyway, Mina asks why Van Helsing is pursuing the Count. He says it's obvious. Dracula is evil and needs to be destroyed. And basically, he can't continue a normal life knowing that this monster exists. No one else believes him, so who else would do it if he didn't? And then he starts talking about his wife. So at some point, this is what I got from it. She was drained. They had witnessed terrible horrors in the pursuit of Dracula. She basically lost her fucking mind, having seen all the horror and getting drained nearly to death. And basically, she just went insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just a mess. So she's alive, but she's not her. So he leaves, Van Helsing. Then the innkeeper comes over and asks Mina about his daughter. And she says, Maria is alive. And he's like, then there is hope. You know.
And she's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, she very artfully left out the bit where, well, I'm going to go back there and drive a big fucking piece of wood, you know.
She actually doesn't tell him that she's alive. She said, I spoke with her.
Yeah. Well, anyway, by omission of fact,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, anyway. And then later, Jonathan is waking up. He's improving. He and Mina talk a bit, and then she tells him to get some rest. And then Van Helsing goes to Mina's room to study because they got Jonathan in his room.
Right.
He's like, I don't know, study. I mean, like he's crunching for a quiz. So anyway, he sees her typewriter and then reads what she had written, her journal page she left in the.
I don't know if he's genius or insane or mad.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, gets all a little,
He's like, hey.
Yeah, indignant. And then she comes in, and she's worried about Dracula coming. And then he reminds her about Dracula not being able to cross the threshold of a property without invitation.
Right.
Whole lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But anyway. So then we cut over to Dracula yelling at Maria for not killing Van Helsing and for letting Jonathan get out. And then Maria says, well, but Mina's Jonathan's wife, and explains. Later, Maria's voice is calling to the innkeeper. Dad, let me in, Papa. Papa. And Van Helsing is with Jonathan. Mina is sleeping. Outside the window, there's a red light, whispery growls, and some smoke. Then Van Helsing decides to go downstairs. The innkeeper and his wife are dead. So they let in their daughter, clearly. And anyone who knows vampire lore, when the owner of the property is dead, all the barriers are gone.
Yes.
So not a problem. Let's see. But anyway, Dracula is outside asking Mina to let him inside. Maria has killed Jonathan, ripped his throat out. We didn't see it. We just see the aftermath of like a kind of a hole in his throat. Not a lot of blood, disappointingly.
Yeah.
And then there's some conversation, and it's really just scene chewing.
It is. There's so much of that.
Van Helsing ends up grabbing a sword off of the wall and decapitates Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Then runs to Mina's room. She's gone. And then we're back at the castle. Mina is sitting at a table unconscious. She starts to wake up as Dracula takes a seat. There's more talking. And then Van Helsing arrives at the castle. Dracula pours Mina a glass of red liquid. Guess what it is? Van Helsing is trying to break in. Dracula tells Mina to share the blood, share the power, become his bride. Van Helsing storms in with the gun, shoots, doesn't hit Dracula, but does shoot the glass that he's holding. Then throws Mina the hammer, but Dracula catches it.
Well, first he tosses the stake to Mina.
Oh, yeah.
She catches the stake.
Yeah. And then Dracula intercepts the hammer. So Mina stakes him and then uses all the martial arts from the book to drive that stake through him.
By punching the stake into him.
Yep. From behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fair. Just got to be through the heart. Doesn't have to be from the front. But I'm sorry. And then she pulls back the curtain from the
daylight.
Window. And Dracula is blasted with light. There's a little bit of like grumbling.
Uh-huh.
Like,
And just a lot of overexposure.
yeah, and maybe a little steam, and then
Uh,
he's dead. So he didn't burn up. And my note is, the effects must have been too expensive.
thought the effect would be a little more than just bright light.
Yeah, and we'll talk about effects and importance and budgets. But anyway, Van Helsing tells Mina that Jonathan is dead. And then we get another shot of the village clock. It's the same exact fucking one from before. Because it's the same exact time, it's the same exact angle, the leaves are moving the same way. Because I note this shit. And I thought, that's lazy.
Yeah.
That's a $50 film budget move. That was not cool. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway. So Mina's standing at Jonathan's coffin in a church. Then she's at her typewriter. She starts to write to Lucy, saying that the letter's for her eyes because she had intended to share it with Jonathan, but he's dead. She doesn't want to return to London. She dreads it, and she's inclined to never return at all. Then so all of a sudden Van Helsing comes in. There's a lot of talking until we painfully get to she ends up going with him to check out the werewolves.
Yeah.
Done. End. That was it. So let's talk about this movie.
Not enough Wrath. Not enough Dracula.
Correct on both points.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the positives.
Okay.
Acting, good,
yeah.
Solid. The failings in performance came strictly from dialogue.
Right.
Because I don't care how good you are.
It was poorly written.
Yeah. When the dialogue is terrible, you just can't engage the audience for extended periods of time for a long monologue.
Oh my gosh.
And Van Helsing had several.
Many.
Yeah.
So many long monologues. It almost felt like this movie was originally intended to be something else.
Kind of did.
And then there were like a lot of rewrites or something done very quickly, maybe.
Well, here's
to adhere to whatever maybe the distributor wanted. I don't know.
Well, here's the number one trapping. I know we're supposed to be doing positive, but you brought it up.
Sorry.
Well, we'll get to the others. The trappings of independent film. Now, we are friends with a number of independent film makers.
Yes.
That means they have written as well as directed their stuff.
And sometimes starred in.
And they are all very good at it. Like Cliff and Marty are really good at dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't know of too many examples where we're not that good.
Right.
They really nail the dialogue.
They do. They're not particularly adventurous about things like camera angles and stuff.
They're about making the movie,
right?
Making it appropriately. In Revenge of Zoe, they had that whole desert scene,
right?
But that's what it called for. They didn't incorporate that in other areas just to do it. And we've seen a lot of things like that happen.
Yeah.
But my big thing is a lot of people who are good at directing films aren't at all good at writing. And Ryan Kruger is good at both. So fucking good that I'm going to bring it up again. Fried Berry was 3 notebook pages, not even a script, just 3 notebook pages of just shit that he thought
Scribbles.
of. Yeah. And he turned that into a fucking film and got everybody going. You wouldn't know it. I laughed so hard at that because I'm like, you got to be shitting me, right?
No script.
But we look at Hilton and Zombie with a Shotgun and his little short 666,
right?
That we watched. It just this gentleman didn't do well with the writing. And because there's not another name attached to it,
It really all falls on him.
yeah, he didn't have a writing partner or
Sure.
someone to, be like, what? Well, like the continuity thing.
Yeah.
Was it 3 days ago? Was it 4 years ago? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, how long were they training? What has
yeah,
been going on?
you know. Uh, and so anyway, that's kind of where we'll swing back to that. I did make in my notes, and we had talked about it, the locations.
Mm-hmm.
So locations make or break an indie film. Because if you try to do too many, you don't have the budget for it, right?
These were actually pretty good. A lot of it was set stuff, but there were some outside locations that I think were real locations.
They were very genuine. Now, I don't
Mhm.
know if they actually went to Romania to do it, but I know in England there's all kinds of
Oh, for sure.
old, still standing, old time buildings and villages that don't have a distinctive English feel to them. Because,
Everybody
through
went
16th
through England.
century and above, yeah, whole
Yeah.
groups settled and the villages reflected their heritage,
Hmm.
right? Castle Dracula was clearly at a castle of some sort.
Yeah, the outside of it was
Yes.
CGI, but it was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Um,
And the interior, I believe, were mostly sets, but also those are pretty well done.
they were. Some of it reminded me of Ship of the Damned,
Oh, sure.
where they went, and we haven't talked about it on the show, but we did watch Ship of the Damned, and Hannah's in that as well.
Hmm.
And they have this old 18th century, it's 300 years old,
Yeah.
this pirate ship,
Yes.
right? Sailing ship. And on the outside, obviously they got a hold of one that was docked and,
Hmm.
they could film it. But then when they go down, it's just this like plywood corridor, right?
Yeah.
Slats of wood. And no ship in the world fucking looks like this.
No.
It's just this long fucking hallway that goes to a door at the end. And then there's these random rooms that pop up here and there. This was a little bit better. The inn did have a nice kind of feel to it,
Yes.
in the pub area. The rooms,
Hmm.
you could get nitpicky about stuff, but I wasn't looking for that because that's when you go into a movie just like, I'm going to shred this bitch.
Right.
Right. So I will say, well done. So one little note, folks, if you watch this movie, watch through the credits because they have behind the scenes footage.
Right.
And that's how you can see how the sets were put up and, or, how they were designed and, what they look like with them working in it. And there's some choreography shots, which you could see was very slow.
Right.
As you can see the director, talking to Hannah and Frida, do this, and they're doing the things. So I really can't, I'm not going to complain about that because an indie film, you're not going to get the Taj Mahal unless you CGI that bitch and shoot on green screen. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get basic sort of like, if someone wanted to build like a really cool looking old castle room in their basement or something.
Yeah.
That kind of quality.
Right. But then you go all the way back to Anton
Mhm.
and Space Trucker Bruce, right?
Where everything's built out of cardboard and egg cartons.
And he built it in his house. His kid's room was one of the rooms in the spaceship. He built it in the basement. And outside had the,
Right.
A shell. And then the inside, and then a lot of CGI too,
Mhm.
for like the big shots and stuff of, big hangars and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked great. So I that was well done. And I think having it, all the failings of the writing aside, having it written to be in these specific locations repeatedly and making those the basis of the story.
Core.
Yeah. That's what you're going for.
Yeah.
There's a huge positive lesson. We've talked about it. You can shoot it in your living room, but take time. Get your fucking family photos out of there. Put a couple things in to give like a flavor or something that you're going for, if you
Sure.
can. I mean, because running to Goodwill, you can like at the very least you can super 70s, maybe even early 80s flavor it because that shit's in abundance.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to be like, I need a 17th century English seaside inn decor. You're not going to find that. So locations are important, and you work with what you got. And if you can find somebody who can build a set and you've got a budget for it, go for it. Like I said, these were well done. They weren't wobbly. They weren't like Ed Wood style
Right.
cardboard with the whole like windows painted onto the cardboard.
Fabulous.
Yeah. And painted curtains. So it was way better than that. But I do want to talk about the Wrath and the Dracula.
Sure. This movie was called Wrath of Dracula.
Yeah.
And Dracula was kind of a bitch.
I mean, so for the first 90% of the film, we just have his eyes.
Yep.
And the same shot of the eyes, too, right?
You know what's weird? It is the same shot of the eyes, just looking intense.
Yeah.
But when they pulled the actor Dracula for like full person, I didn't think it was Dracula because he doesn't even look like this. It doesn't look like the same eyes.
I know.
It doesn't even look like the same person. Is it the same person?
I have no idea.
I don't know that it is.
But let me say this. I did write in my notes and then I erased it and wrote over it. When Maria was sitting at the table, I wrote some
guy, some jabroni.
I did. I wrote some bald jabroni strolling up to her in a trench coat. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, that's Dracula. Because to this point,
I thought the same thing. I was like, who's this guy?
Because to this point, we haven't seen his head.
Right.
I had no idea he was bald.
No.
And he didn't.
Dracula's supposed to be a gorgeous man with a full head of hair.
Well, here's the thing. I could take a bald Dracula. That's fine. But
Sure.
first of all, you got to find somebody who can do bald. We've talked about it. There are
Mhm.
only certain actors out there with just like, who are like, you know what? It could be bald, could have a big frizzy perm thing going. Doesn't matter. They can pull it all off.
Looking at you, Billy Zane.
Billy Zane is actually one of the examples of, big, thick fucking head of hair and whoosh, shiny bald.
Yeah.
Both of those are just like, bam, sorry, but the dude's just good looking.
Yeah.
Done. Right. But the thing about Dracula is he's supposed to be sultry.
Right.
Right. Not sexy. Because that's a whole different thing. That's looking at, like boy toys and stuff. Right.
Okay.
Sultry in the fact that he is a handsome individual.
Like magnetic.
Yeah. But his charisma is in his features.
Mm-hmm.
And then from within him it's not, everyone's like, oh, Dracula seduces. No, I like the word sultry. He just emanates that.
Yeah.
And even in his like basic level conversations, right? Very articulate, very proper and prim and precise. But like Gary Oldman did a fantastic fucking job with that. Because Gary Oldman can pull off any kind of dialogue. I don't know if he can pull off the bald thing, but for dialogue, he's really good at it. And his version of Dracula was just, you could see where, it's like, oh, that's how he gets his fucking fingers into you and, manipulates you.
Speak.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So anyway, not nearly enough Dracula. And certainly nothing to make me think of him as dangerous, either A, as a manipulative source, or B, as the vampire.
Right.
Right?
Dracula fell pretty flat.
When you put your Dracula on the screen and you have two people thinking, who's this bald jabroni? You've missed the mark. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's Dracula. Okay. Dracula comes in angry at Maria.
Yeah.
And
not enough wrath.
Well, without Dracula, what kind of wrath are you going to get?
Right.
I mean, what was your interpretation of Wrath of Dracula? Because I told you mine, and I'll say it in a minute.
So I was thinking there was going to be a lot of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of like throats ripped out. Maybe like him laying waste to a village or something.
Yeah.
He's angry.
Wrath.
Yeah.
You got to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Right? Something has to trip your trigger
mm-hmm.
and send you into just fucking bonkers mode.
Well, and even there was a prime moment in the film where they could have really gone like, now here's where the wrath comes in, which is when Maria failed at keeping Van Helsing and Mina in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And failed at doing what he told her to do with them. And he's basically like, bad Maria.
Was he even that stern?
And she's like, but wait, I know who Mina is, and my daddy's the innkeeper. And he's like, well, okay then. That's not wrath.
No. And you just actually kind of like summed up the entire personality of Dracula. Well, okay then.
Yeah.
Even in the end battle, I wasn't worried for Mina.
No.
Or I was more worried about Van Helsing fighting, Isa, whatever, the only one who tried to be flirtatious with him.
Right.
She showed him all kinds of shoulder.
Well, part of her shoulder.
All
kinds of part of a shoulder.
Yeah. That's fair. I was expecting this to be like 15 minutes of getting into it and then something just like fucking pops his top. And the rest of the film is, like you said, him just going fucking fanatical.
Yeah.
On the villages and tormenting. And that's the other thing about Dracula.
Title's a misnomer.
Well, we've talked about this a little bit in the past and a lot between just us. The failings of most Dracula films are they lean into the gore and just like the brutal slasher horror level stuff. And that is such a disservice to the character and the potential of the character for Dracula. He is like the ultimate arch villain.
It is. And okay, we're playing Curse of Strahd as we play D&D.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, Strahd is a master vampire. He's essentially a ripoff of Dracula put into the world of D&D.
Yeah.
He's got 3 brides. He's got, his castle.
A contained, like, extra dimensional world.
Right.
Very small. Yeah.
Yeah. In a place much like Transylvania, you
know.
It is not even hiding, just a straight rip of Dracula. Right?
Yeah.
Popped into D&D.
Yeah.
And I hope, as DM, I've done a good job of making Strahd intriguing and, sort of sultry and, cool. You guys make fun of him a lot for being kind of obsessed with the one, with his lady.
Well, my character makes fun of him because he just fucking hates it so much. And he's just to the point where fuck this guy.
But is that because I've done a good job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we've faced him twice.
Mm-hmm.
First time he was just fucking with us. The second time, I don't think he honestly expected what was going down. Because, my character, when he bit him, I just ran right up to him. That belongs to me. Just lick the blood that you said was trickling down his cheek. I don't think he was expecting that. We also spanked him, I think, harder than he thought because he turned into mist and left. But those 2 instances are only like 5% of the game. The rest of it's been him fucking with us.
Yes.
And the mental anguish and everything. And that's what Dracula is really all about. Like I said, he's the ultimate arch villain. He is dangerous as shit. And yeah, he could fucking, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, whole villages in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not what makes him fearful. What makes him to be feared is just the exacting, sinister manipulation that he can cast upon you, and you won't know it.
Right.
And the fucking mind games.
Yeah.
And just knowing what he is and seeing him, seeing that character, you see that on the screen. In the audience, you're like, I would not want to be in that fucking room.
Right.
And they're just like sitting casually and talking. Right. But, he also doesn't lose his shit and just go like bonkers, like a lot of, other horror things. We didn't get any Dracula in Dracula.
Right.
So there was no wrath because he didn't get angry really about anything. And he didn't have time to be wrathful because they made quick work of him.
They really did.
Most of the time with Mina, he's just screaming, drink the cup, drink the cup.
Drink it.
Drink it. Van Helsing comes in. He's like, oh, missed. And then next thing you know, he's gone.
Yeah. So
there wasn't much of him. But through the whole thing, his looming presence wasn't there.
No.
Right? Again, the Bram Stoker's Dracula, film, they did a really good job bringing that piece back. There's a lot of other Dracula movies that have missed the mark. This isn't the only one.
Oh, no.
Right? But a lot of them did bring in that. It's thriller level stuff, like on the edge of your seat, like this fucking guy. What's next?
Yeah.
Right? What's next?
And it's a schemer.
Yeah. And to modernize it, bringing it forward into modern horror tastes, adding more blood. Because you go back to Dracula with Bela Lugosi. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know there was nothing going on, folks. If you see it, folks, which you should, because it's, it's a classic. It's just, him being a creepy bitch.
Yeah. Basically.
And, he's just kind of hinting at, fuck with me and you'll find out. We did not get any of that love.
No.
None.
It was unfortunate.
So I don't know what the wrath was.
Honestly, it was really, I love Dracula stuff.
It was really Wrath of Van Helsing.
I mean, really, it was more Wrath of Mina.
To be fair, yeah, but Van Helsing just had the most dialogue.
He talked the most.
Incessantly.
But he did the least. Besides Dracula.
Yeah. Well, he barged in on Mina.
All these women carried the film, really.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah, Maria was scarier than Dracula.
Except for the innkeeper's wife. I
don't think that was his wife. I think it was just someone who worked at the inn.
I think it was his wife. Because they were dead there together.
Because she was the one, it was implied heavily that she was like a spy for Dracula.
Oh. Well, I don't know. She could have been. What's the husband?
Van Helsing literally looked at her and he was like, and some people might be spies for Dracula. That's why we should go talk privately.
Questionable alliances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on the effects, the lack of blood, right? Part of me wants to say budgetarily, maybe it wasn't there. But I thought about it and I'm not going to say that because it's not really an excuse.
Blood's not expensive.
It is not expensive. Shit, we spent.
It doesn't even need to look good. You can just pour a gallon of like $2 blood.
Yeah. So I spent on Lily's Zombie Dorothy Halloween makeup less than $120.
Yeah.
And, some of it went to, because I had bought bald caps and stuff so I could cut flesh danglies out of them. And but the blood was not the most expensive piece of it. The liquid skin and some of the makeup was way more than that. And I got like Midland blood.
Yeah. The spirit stuff was more expensive.
Yeah. And, bang. Everybody was like, fuck, what is she? Zombie Dorothy, I guess. Jesus.
Yeah.
And so many people complimented her. I'm like, oh.
That was her own idea too, Zombie Dorothy.
Yeah. And I just helped bring that to bring
Yeah.
it to life. And I'm not super great at it. As a kid, I fiddled with that kind of stuff. I did the whole, the blasted GI, because I had all this like
Well,
army
but
surplus
here's the other
stuff,
thing about the makeup in this film, not just the blood, is that it was at the, we did that zombie party for Lily for her 3rd birthday, where we just put the sort of like dark circles around our eyes and maybe some green on our face.
Oh, we did green face. Yeah. Big black around the eyes.
Yeah.
Because it was kids. We didn't want to like have blood flowing.
But the effects makeup in this film were not much better than that.
They weren't. Like when Jonathan was laying there with his throat ripped out, there should have been oodles of blood there.
There should have been, yeah.
And
that's a throat wound.
Yeah, for $40, you could get a big enough bottle to carry you through the production, right? There was complete lack of blood, and not even like blood splatters on the wall, right?
Right.
Because I'm thinking Wrath of Dracula, we're going to see a lot of blowback, a lot of spraying.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
Which is just disappointing.
It is.
Not every vampire movie needs to have that level, but this needed a lot of things, and that would have been one thing to helped it along.
I mean, the other thing is this could have been a 20-minute movie, to be honest with you.
Could have been a short.
Yeah, could have been short. There was an awful lot of unnecessarily dialogue and scene chewing.
Yeah.
Right? Just we're like, we have to fill this out to be a full-length feature. So, talk. I really thought the typewriter was going to be like something.
Yeah, the typewriter.
They made such a big deal about it.
It is so prominent.
Yeah.
In those scenes. And then at the end, she's typing on it, but none of that actually means anything. None of it ties to anything that has happened in the story that we saw.
It was just like someone happened to have an old Underwood or something, and they were like, let's put this in the film.
Well, and so I get the director. That's like, hey, that's a new word.
Yeah.
All right. So the director, I can see he was trying to, all characters should have some kind of quirk.
Sure.
Right. They've just got that one little bend or wrinkle. Right. But the idea of bringing that up is making it work in the story, making it work in the character's development, making it work into something other than it happened a little bit later, it happened again, and then nothing.
Right.
And then in the end, typing again. To what end?
Yeah.
Right? Just solely for the comedic relief of a heavy suitcase. So he could see her journal page and get indignant for exactly 6 seconds and then forget that it ever happened.
Or just to be like Mina's a progressive person. I don't know. Like a tech forward person.
I suppose. To what end?
I mean, in the book, she's a train nerd.
That would have been better. Could have done something with that.
They did.
Could have worked it. Well, I mean, in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I don't know what the typewriter. I mean, it was cool to see.
Yeah.
Applause for that.
Sure.
Because we love that. We have one of those old fuckers up there. And I love looking at it every fucking day.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I wouldn't write a story around it though, like Dracula.
Right.
Van Helsing had so many holes in his way of doing things that it was literally like watching this through a big slotted strainer.
Yeah.
Like held up to him, and just whatever falls through. Like again, like why this man is so smart. And we talked about Professor Brain, right? And that's right. I get that, but even still, even the simplest of people have to realize, well, I've been chasing this guy and up in his shit for 3 years. He's gonna notice me at the fucking door. I need you to get close to him. Then why would you even go? Right? You're teaching her how to defend herself.
Yeah.
Dracula's not going to open up to a woman who's hanging with a dude. Right?
Right.
Especially a dude. He's like, that's the motherfucker who has been up my shit for 3 years. Chased me out of here. did me, this and that. And he's just going to be like, I like the woman, so I'll just ignore him. That's not how it works.
I know.
But specifically, we didn't see enough of Dracula. He wasn't around enough to even notice anybody. He never saw Van Helsing till the end.
Right.
When he kicked in the door. And Van Helsing, when he kicked through, I bet he's thinking, who's this bald motherfucker?
Who's this jabroni? And where's Dracula?
Yeah, the depiction of Dracula is one of two things. One, like I said, the classic, he's just so sinister. He's suave and debonair and prim and proper. He doesn't give you any excuse to think him rude or untoward towards anything. Or he is just in it, like that one series, the Dracula series that we watched.
I really enjoyed that
where
series.
He was covered in blood like all the time.
He was constantly.
And I called him the Skyrim vampire.
Yeah.
Because in Skyrim, the vampires are so fucking piggish.
They are.
And there's blood and rotting shit everywhere. I'm like, Dracula would lose his fucking mind. He'd be like, pick that shit up. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You don't live in squalor like this.
Food everywhere.
But that Dracula was vicious as shit.
Oh, yeah.
He was very charismatic, very mild-mannered. But when he fed, oh my God, did he feed.
He was a messy boy.
He climbed in there
to
get the blood,
yeah.
And he was constantly getting new clothes.
That's his demon,
That's it. And it worked.
Mm-hmm.
It worked. This was just like, you can't have a Dracula movie without Dracula.
Yeah.
And this is like your dinosaur...
Dinosaur... Was it Dinosaur Planet?
I think it's Dinosaur Planet. But yeah, that's, not enough dinosaurs. You just turned it off.
I did. Yeah, there wasn't enough dinosaurs.
Planet Raptor.
That's right. Raptor Planet.
Raptor Planet. Something. Yeah. Not enough. Yeah, but there just wasn't enough of them.
Not enough dinosaurs.
Yeah. Such a shame.
Yeah.
But anyway. Let's see. The music, very basic.
Yeah.
It didn't move me or bring me in. And that's usually
it was fine.
Usually I don't bring it up, because it's like 50-50. You can afford it or you can't, or you're lucky enough to know somebody or you don't, who can pull off some really nice music.
It was fine.
That fucking clock tower shot, reusing that's like 1920s silent film nonsense, right? And the reason...
Lazy.
Yes. Well, they didn't do it because it was lazy. It was just that it was so expensive.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to crank, 200 feet of fucking film to get a 5-second clock tower shot. Yeah, by hand. You're not going to set that all up again later.
Right.
Like, I just use that. Just make another copy and cut it in. Exactly. But to have it so wrong, I mean, like I said, it was almost like he was spoofing himself. It's just past 6. 9:50. The only thing missing was if it had been digital.
Right.
It might have even been slightly less ridiculous. But then to use it again at the end.
I know.
Oh, and there's another thing. The time. How long were they?
How long were they? Were they there 3 days, 4 years, 2 weeks?
Right?
Who knows? Nothing matches up.
No.
This story is full of holes.
Here's another thing to avoid. Independent film, again, small budgets, no budgets. But Jesus Christ, you have clothes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The actor you hire has clothes. If it's a period piece, it's a little more difficult, right? But you can pull it off. But Van Helsing is in the same fucking outfit from beginning to end.
Yes.
So we have no indication. Mina, they dress her this way in the beginning, her black in the travel, and then this...
She's back in the black at the end.
She's back at the black at the end. Well, that makes sense because, stand next to her dead husband's coffin. But she's the only one who changes clothes, but then she gets like a set of clothes from the innkeeper so she can practice the martial arts, right? Mm-hmm. And that made sense. But she's in those for a long time.
And, yeah.
Right. But yeah, everyone else is like the same.
Same clothes.
So that doesn't help.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, that doesn't help. The few outside shots that they did were very quick, and they didn't give us any indication of like seasonal passing or anything. In fact,
No,
it's like it's storming outside. I'm like, I
it was
just
just sunny.
just saw the last shot. Unless you've been in that inn for like 9 hours.
Right.
Again, help me with the time, folks. Right? I don't know what's going on. But the um the bit where he's like, it's nearly 6 or just turned 6 and it's bright as out, bright as
Hmm.
daylight, midday with that clock tower shot. And then he's in there in the castle. He's like, it's 11 o'clock. 6 more hours to go.
Right.
Like, so what? The sun's coming up at 5? When did it fucking go down? Where are you?
Right.
What
What is that?
what
And here's the thing.
fucking
We don't need it spelled out for us. We don't need an exact itinerary of what time it is every single time someone's doing something.
right?
We don't need that. What we do need is for it to not be so awfully inconsistent
And ambiguous.
and ambiguous that it pulls us out and makes
Right.
us go, wait, but wait, what?
This falls into the 3 tenets of storytelling, right? Passage of time is an important piece of storytelling.
Mhm.
If you can't say it, show it. And in film, show it, don't say it
Mm-hmm.
as much as you can. And that is not fucking hard. That is not hard. Especially you're out in this like little tiny village in Romania. You could walk out into any woods. We could walk out back and take a 10-second shot of like a little bit of the sky through the branches at night.
Yeah.
Right? Boom. Done. There's my night shot. Doesn't need to be from the inn window.
Right.
It doesn't need to be from the castle window.
No.
It just, and we've seen a lot of independent films where they'll do like a drone shot or just something random, right?
That
But
gives
showing
us
the
some
time
idea
of day.
of the time of day. Yeah.
Yes. Because without that, it's a bunch of people in a set
Mm-hmm.
just doing shit. And this either happened in a minute and a half or it took a decade. I couldn't tell you. Because everyone's dressed the same except for Mina. Yeah, it's an important thing to remember. There are ways to show the passage of time without relying on clocks. And Jesus Christ, if you're going to use a clock, have it do what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean?
This is really grinding your gears, isn't it?
It kind of is, because the more I talk about these little things, it just kind of pisses me off. It's like
Yeah.
this had the potential to really go somewhere because there was some money involved in this. They had the tools.
Well, they had money. They had good actors.
Yes.
They had good sets.
Mm-hmm.
They had there was a lot of like very legitimate things about this indie film.
And a tried and true premise, Dracula.
Yeah.
Right? So they went classic with it, which I give respect to.
Yeah.
It wasn't a modernization because those have not worked very well.
And it also was, I will give respect to the fact that you didn't go into it, because I was complaining about this a little bit, but that's because they were using it basically as like, scene chewing. But they didn't assume you go in knowing what vampires are and the whole Dracula story and everything.
Right.
And that's fine. But we did not need the entire book, right?
Yeah.
Vampire lore.
When he handed her that big ass book.
The Demonica, yeah.
Yeah, something. The Latin book.
The witch hunting book.
And said, look at chapter 7. I thought, sweet, okay, this is going to be a quick thing. And when she couldn't read, didn't mean he needed to cover that whole synopsis of the whole fucking book.
Yeah. Could
have just stuck with chapter 7, shot that down to like a 20-second 3-line, and then we move on. I don't know why Lamia's even factored into this.
It didn't need to. They could have opened it to vampires.
Yeah. And it's that whole thing. Even in this thing, when you have a vampire story with Van Helsing, Dracula's origin is not important.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Because at this point, everybody knows about vampires. Everybody knows about Dracula. Whether they know the lore and all of that doesn't matter. But the literature version of Dracula
is well known.
All we know is he's the one.
Mm-hmm.
He makes other vampires. And he is the last fucking thing in the universe that you want to run into,
Yeah.
dead or alive, heaven or hell, right? No. And to just like take that and there was no direction to the story. I didn't feel like Van Helsing achieved anything. He's mad at Dracula because,
his wife went crazy.
Because Van Helsing drove his fucking
own
wife
crazy.
crazy by dragging her along with this horrible shit.
Yeah.
If we were in this kind of situation, there is no way in hell you would be coming with me. If I had to strap you down and hire someone to come undo you 6 months after I'm gone. Because if I knew I was going to go into the most horrible, nightmarish bullshit, I am not bringing you with. I'm not going to risk you. I'm not going to subject you to that, particularly if it's because it's a wild hair up my ass that has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that. Our relationship is such that I would be there anyhow.
Lots of chains.
Well, I'm wily.
I guess here's the other thing too. Are you capable? That would be my question. Are you capable of dealing with this? And yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But apparently she wasn't.
Right.
And that's not like something you just find out. It's very readily evident.
I mean, it would be like you and I are going to go squatching, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go squatching. We know for sure we're going to find a Bigfoot, right? And we're going to find some horrible, horrible stuff. Let's say Bigfoots are evil.
Sure.
And, they tear people apart and whatever. We know we're going to find some crazy,
worst case scenario stuff,
bloody, awful stuff to see. Stuff stuff that keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring my stepmother, Julia.
No. No, we are not.
She is not built for such things.
No.
Right?
Anyway. lot of things. I mean, I'll say worth a watch. The slog, but to visually soak in the lessons that we've talked about, do it. It's always worth seeing Hannah on the screen.
Oh yeah.
So, for that in and of itself. And if you want to see a bald jabroni Dracula, I swear to you, this will be the first time, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Don't miss that.
Who's this jabroni?
You can even fast forward to the end if you want, just to soak that bit in.
Yeah, just so you know, because Dracula's not in 99% of the movie.
Yeah.
I think that about covers it.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think at this point we talk about our website.
lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
Yep. Go there, find stuff, our episodes, our links to Patreons and projects and stuff. Please,
we've got it all.
Yeah, please hit the Patreon, join up, become a patron. Would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, help us keep this podcast running.
Yeah. I was going to say something and I forgot, but I'll say this instead.
Mm-hmm.
As you're listening and doing all the stuff and checking out our YouTube channels, like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because, that only helps. Also, pay attention to the people that we mentioned. Pay attention to the people that are in our episode titles, especially the interviews and stuff. We have some channels linked on our YouTube channels. Check those people out too, because they're wonderful filmmakers and creatives, and show them some love as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are involved in independent filmmaking or B movies and you want to talk to us, reach out.
Yeah, because we can put you on just like we're going to put Hannah on, and we did David. And
you can email us, info@lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
It's that simple. We'll get back to you.
We really will.
Yeah, we do.
We don't have a team that monitors the emails and ignores everyone that emails us. We literally look at all of them. Like
90% of this operation is me.
It is.
So all of the faults, folks, direct to me.
When I say we, I mean you, Jim.
I let you know when there's emails.
And I see them.
You check,
and I clean out
info.
I clean out the garbage ones that I see.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, let's have some chats. Let's get you on the show. Let's talk about what you've done. Let's talk about the people you've worked with. Let's get them on the show and see more of their stuff.
Yeah.
That's how this works, because I'm just going to wrap up with this. I've said it before. Hollywood is dying. It may come back as something else.
Mm-hmm.
whatever it comes back as is going to be very indie film based, because indie film is kicking Hollywood's ass left, right, and center.
In
More,
both quality and
yep,
quantity.
yep, and more Hollywood people are going indie because they're just done. Because you know what, indie can do it better, and then most of the time they do.
Yeah.
So with that,